And we said earlier that it sounds like we'll be talking about marriage. And so if you look at verse 6, you see our day's text, what God has yoked together, let no man put apart. But actually, if you look at verse 3, you'll see the topic was divorce. And Jesus used our day's text to set the Pharisees straight on the matter of divorce. But then in verse 9, he said, I say to you that whoever divorces his wife, except on the grounds of sexual immorality, and marries another, commits adultery. So that since the topic is marriage and divorce, can our single brothers and sisters just tune out of our discussion? No. Sometimes the man who puts apart the yoke that God put together proves to be a single person. And so look at the first sentence in our Watchtower comments. It says, whether single or married, all of us need to bear in mind Jesus' words. Well, does coveting another's mate happen in the Christian congregation? Yes. How does it happen? Well, if you look at the third sentence in our Watchtower comments for today, it says, if any Christian begins to entertain, that's how it happens, begins to entertain such a covetous desire, it says he or she should quickly rout it out, the unclean desire, even at the cost of great emotional pain, because, and here again, how does it happen? Having allowed such selfish cravings to develop. Well, at the point described in our sentence here, the other person likely does not even realize that this person has covetous desire for them. The desire is just beginning to be entertained. And you notice the sentence did not say that he and she should rout it out. It says he or she should act quickly. So it was a lone individual at this point. Well, how does this covetous desire begin? In the world, it could be at the first sighting of an attractive person, they instantly have a desire for more. But we've been groomed by Jehovah's word. We have a high regard for morality. So in the congregation or even here at Bethel, the desire may develop not solely based on looks, but on emotional attachment. Usually the breaking of the yoke of marriage occurs when a third party is spending a considerable amount of time with one of the mates. And we might mention that this is not necessarily with malicious intent. Just one scenario, a single pioneer brother and a married pioneer sister. Well, obviously they're going to be spending more time together than if either one of them was not pioneering. And periodically they'll be in the same car group. Over time, they get to know one another more. And this is just circumstances. But this can lead up to that third sentence in our comments, where one of them, usually unbeknownst to the other one, has begun to entertain this covetous desire. He needs to rout that out quickly, otherwise there is a whole series of sad events that could be launched that potentially could end up with the married sister divorced. Well, this same progression can happen here at Bethel too, if a brother and sister work together day after day. Open please to Colossians 3:5 now. Our Watchtower comment said rout out the desire. Colossians says deaden the desire. But notice what happens if we do not quickly rout out the desire. Colossians 3:5. It says deaden, therefore, your body members that are on the earth as respects 1, sexual immorality, 2, uncleanness, uncontrolled sexual passion, hurtful desire, and greediness, it says all of which is idolatry. Well, the 5 inappropriate steps listed there seem to be in the order of gravity, with the most serious being first. Look at the 5th one, greediness. Now, our previous edition used the word covetousness there, but really the fundamental issue is greed. Look one step back. Hurtful, or we could say covetous desire. Well, if we do not rout it out immediately at the start of that stage, what develops further? Another step back. It says uncontrolled sexual passion. And if we do not deaden at that point, go one step back, uncleanness. You see, now something physical has occurred between the two already. Not fornication, but uncleanness. And if we do not check it at that point, the most serious will occur. Sexual immorality with the potential of breaking the one flesh bond. Well, we want our brothers and sisters to continue to pioneer together, single and married. And it's impossible to adjust the circumstances of Bethel so that a brother and sister never work together. So how can we all protect ourselves from allowing this wrong desire to develop? Please turn to Job 31. We've considered these series of verses before, but it's so pertinent to this discussion. Let's be reminded of it. Job 31. We call Job the integrity keeper, rightly so, but he was an imperfect integrity keeper. He evidently had some thoughts and desires that troubled him. Well, what did he do to quickly rout out that desire not allowed to develop further? Job 31:1 is our familiar one. I have made a covenant with my eyes, so how could I show improper attention to a virgin? Well, hold your place there. But why would Job be moved to make a contract not to look at a woman with improper desire? He must have been aware of some temptations within himself. And so he took this strong measure to avoid it developing further. Well, if we start to entertain a wrong desire, what should we do? And I might mention this works for those who have had a problem with pornography. Why not type up a contract with your eyes, sign it, and date it? Put it in your wallet or next to the computer and review it periodically. And then if you succumb to the desire again, save that contract, but type up another one, sign it, and date it. You see, in time, we can compare the duration between the contract dates, and we can monitor our progress. Well, hurtful desire leads to more and more depravity. And that's the series of verses here in 31. Look at verse 3. Did Job realize this series of events? 3, does not disaster await the wrongdoer and calamity those doing what is harmful? Verse 4, he knew he could not hide anything from Jehovah. 6 is powerful. He realized this is an issue of integrity. Let God weigh me in accurate scales, then he will recognize my integrity. Wrong desire, is that serious? He also realized that looking at entices the heart in a wrong direction. In verse 7, if my footsteps deviate from the way, or my heart has followed after my eyes. And in verse 9, you see he's on the same subject as verse 1. If my heart has been enticed by a woman. And what would be the consequences of this progression of events? A judicial case. Look at verse 11. For that would be shameful conduct and an error deserving punishment by the judges. So in summary, what God has yoked together, let no man put apart.